How's it going? Mike here, the Fresh Rinse. I'm very excited. I don't know that I have ever been this excited about a finished product, and I can't wait to show you. Jazzy just got completely covered with rubber. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. Two things before we get into the video. First of all, be sure to like and subscribe, hit the bell tab if you'd like to be alerted to future videos. You'll never miss another video, and in this series in particular, Building Jazzy, I promise you, you do not want to miss an episode. The second thing is concerning the giving and receiving of advice as it pertains to this channel. First of all, let me say thank you for all the advice that all of you give in all of my videos. I'm very grateful. I ask, you deliver, and I could not be more thankful. That being said, I can receive all of the advice that's given, but I can only utilize some of it. It's really interesting. Some of you are extremely passionate about your advice, and I'm grateful for that. You say, Mike, please do it this way. I've done it this way. It's tried, true, tested. It's fail-proof. You have to do it this way. Right behind you will come another comment, and someone will say, Mike, please do it this way. I've done it this way for years. It's tried and true and tested. It's fail-proof. And it's in opposition to the previous comment. Like, everyone has an opinion, everyone has advice. I ask for it and I receive it because I can only utilize some advice. So what do? Well, I take all of that advice, I put it in a pot, I stir it up, and in the end, I live or die by the decisions that I make. Isn't that life? Sink or swim, live or die, success or failure. I promise you, in the end, I own it. And the best part is, because none of us are in the 7th grade, I never have to worry about you coming back and saying, I told you so. We're grown-ups here. At the end of the video, I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to tell you exactly what it cost me to rubberize Jazzy, total cost from beginning to end. And then secondly, I'm going to answer some of the questions that have already come in via the short video that I made earlier. So here we go. In the last video, I showed you how that I completely stripped the paint off of the bed of Jazzy and then coated it with an industrial primer. I paid big bucks for it and it works great. It sat overnight, and then when I came out this morning, I could have used a jackhammer and I wouldn't have been able to penetrate that primer. Heavy duty stuff, I highly recommend it. In fact, when I was putting down the glue with the notch trowel, I tried my best to scratch the surface of the primer. I could not do it. That stuff is extremely tough. First of all, I began loading onto the truck all of the matting that I got from Rural King, $25 a piece, 10 total. These are 3 feet by 4 feet by 1/2 inch rubber matting. Again, $25 a piece. And then, like a puzzle, I began to put everything together and then cut all of the edges so that it would fit exactly onto the trailer, exactly as I wanted it. And you'll notice here that I did somewhat of a bricklayer's staggered look. And that's because these are 3 feet by 4 feet matting. And because the bed is just shy of 8 feet wide, I had to cut these to fit. So to glue the rubber matting to the bed of the truck, I used a heavy duty glue that's intended for hardwood flooring. My friend Dave Nazette, who's been coaching me through this entire process, says that's exactly what I need to use, as it is a urethane type of a glue that actually serves as a barrier between the rubber and the bed. When it gets wet, it actually hardens. Not only is it extremely sticky, this stuff is not moving, but being that it is urethane, it serves as a barrier. So double duty purpose for this glue. I cannot recommend it enough. The hardest part was probably manhandling this rubber matting. I felt like that I had to move quicker than I actually did. The glue is a fast setting glue, but not so fast setting that I couldn't take my time. After I laid a few pieces, I realized I had plenty of time to get it exactly where I wanted, and from that point it became much easier. The glue comes in a 3.5 gallon bucket, and I used every bit of the glue. I had 0 glue left, but it was exactly the amount that I needed. In fact, the glue would kind of ooze out of the seams whenever I would put the mats together, and then after it dried, I went back and I removed all of the excess glue. After that, I sealed all of the seams with this special sealer that's intended for roofing and flashing. There's nothing penetrating through this floor. And then finally, I went around the entire perimeter of the bed and I sealed all of the edges. And this is a finished product. So with that, let me answer just a few questions that some of you had, again, after seeing the short video that I posted earlier. Some of you asked, so why the rubber matting? That's a great question. Again, my friend Dave Nazette, who has been coaching me throughout this entire process, says he has done this to all of his trucks and has never once had rust after applying the rubber matting in this fashion. So the rubber matting serves as a rust preventer, first of all. And secondly, it serves somewhat as a noise insulator. The machinery wants to vibrate on the metal bed. And this way, when it does vibrate, it doesn't affect the bed in any way. So that's why I'm using this rubber matting. Someone else asked, why did I stop short of bringing the rubber matting all the way to the edge of the bed? That's a great question. They seem to be concerned that perhaps water and SH and other chemicals might get up underneath the matting and then cause rust and decay. Again, a great question. The reason that I stopped short is because the actual metal of the bed that comes factory is actually nearly 1/4 of an inch higher than this portion of the bed or the railing. And so if I had brought the rubber matting to the edge, then it would have come down at an angle. My fear is that at some point the glue might give way and it would pop up in certain areas. Not only would that be aesthetically displeasing, but it would also have allowed moisture and chemicals to get up underneath the rubber matting. So I chose to pull it back and let it sit flush with the factory metal that came with the bed. Finally, it was suggested that I do some kind of a rhino liner, a Duraliner, bed liner type of a product everywhere that metal is exposed. And I do plan to do that not only on the bulkhead, but also everywhere underneath where metal is showing. I plan to line this with a rhino liner, Duraliner, I think it might even be called Herculiner, whatever. I plan to do that everywhere that I possibly can. In our industry, rust is the enemy. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. So I hope to prevent it by doing everything that I possibly can, from the rubber matting on top to the rhino liner all the way around. The idea is to prevent rust. And that's why I've taken these extra measures to do what I can to prevent rust on Jazzy. So once again, I am super stoked about this finished product on Jazzy. Please feel free to leave suggestions, comments, and opinions. As I said before, I highly appreciate them and I value them. I can't necessarily utilize all the suggestions, but that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate them. So what was the total cost to rubberize Jazzy? Well, let's run through this. First of all, the rubber matting was $250. The primer was $80. The glue was $170. And the sealer was $9. That comes to a grand total of $509 to rubberize Jazzy. So what's next for Jazzy? In a future video, I'm going to be applying the aluminum panels that come out and down and then run along the side of the bed. I have all of the materials and I have a fabricator who's eager to get started on that project. Next week, I plan to attend the huge convention in Nashville, Tennessee. It'll be my first time attending. If you're there and you see me, yell out, "Yo Fresh." We'll fellowship a little bit. I look forward to seeing you. After the convention, I have lots of work to do, but in my spare time, we're going to finish Jazzy, and I look forward to it. All right, my name's Mike. They call me the Fresh Rinse. We have rubberized Jazzy, and as always, it's time to clock out. Yo, homie, smell you later.